Some of the things you are doing specifically to make sure that, justice is being distributed evenly. We just touched on, some of how you're dealing with, lower incomes or persons of color, but the stats, as I said, at times just don't lean in favor that there is a disparity in the judicial system. So a lot of people feel there isn't justice. But what have you done specifically to say, what, we need to make sure that everyone is treated fair? I mean, have stats changed since you've been in office? Or do you guys pay attention to that? But it's kind of a broad stroke of a question.
Well, we don't keep statistics, but we're not blind. We can certainly see what's happening. I expose myself to all kinds of literature. I've read the New Jim Crow, and I'm familiar with the dialogue about mass incarceration.
That's by Michelle Alexander?
Michelle Alexander, and then certainly there's a new documentary out called 13.
Yes.
So I make sure that, and a lot of people in prosecutor's office don't have no idea what we're talking about. I guarantee you, they're looking at this and they're thinking, what is she talking about? So I'm very much aware of the national dialogue on the disparities in the criminal justice system, the biases that exist against people of color, particularly African American men. And so I really take a good hard look at our policies and our decisions, and who I hire, who I trust, because I'm not in every courtroom. That's the other thing. I get emails sometimes saying, my son's going to be in court on Thursday. Can you handle this case? I'll get email direct. And the truth of the matter is there's many layers of supervisors, because we have about 30 courtrooms. We handle 300,000 cases a year. And so I have lawyers that are in court actually doing the trial. So I make sure that I choose, a diverse population of people, but also the best people. And I make sure in those management spots that I choose people where I would want them deciding my case if I were on the other side of the criminal justice system. But one big thing that we have done, and I am so proud of, is create the Conviction Review Unit. Only about 11 offices that I know of have the Conviction Review Unit. And that's to provide relief for those who've been wrongfully convicted. We know if you have access to any kind of television or the internet, that there have been people, and some of them have been people of color, who have been wrongfully accused, wrongfully convicted, using evidence that was unreliable, or before we had DNA. And it's my position that you should never, as a prosecutor, say, I'm done, I've sought justice in a case. If there is one person in prison who has been wrongfully convicted and new evidence comes that shakes your confidence, destroys your confidence in the evidence used to convict that person, you have an absolute duty to look at that. And I believe that this unit, which was not easy to create, there was a lot of criticism of, well, everybody's going to claim they were innocent. Well, we haven't found that to be true. And we set up guidelines. It's got to be new evidence, newly discovered evidence. And so far we have found a few cases where we were able to free people who were wrongfully convicted. But on top of that, I mentioned mental health. People should look at the statistics, because there's a substantial number of people who are in the jail receiving mental health care who are people of color. And a lot of times they may not have access to health insurance. Their families may not know what to do, how to get them help. And so I think it's important in the justice system that we look for ways to get them help, that we not punish people. People who are mentally ill end up doing about 3 times the time on the same identical charge than people that aren't. And that's because you have to get them well enough in order to, to participate in the criminal justice system. So I think that's an injustice, and it does hurt people of color. And so we're working on, diverting people out of that pipeline and back in. But the other thing that you may not know that we do is we do prevention. So we're in schools. We're in about 60. We have this.
Is this new, kind of under your leadership?
No, but we've increased it. We've got, we've substantially increased it. I did it, so I think that I did it for 5 years, and I think that has motivated others to do it. But we teach in about 60 schools 1 day a week a curriculum on the criminal justice system, so people understand at the 5th grade level what their rights are, what the justice system is.
And I think it was Lennox School used to participate?
Actually, no, it was Lorena.
Lorraine, okay. I
Lorena
know it started with an L.
School.
Sorry about that. Sorry, Lorraine, for that.
No, so there's a lot that we do, a lot of good that we do. We're just not the best PR people, but we do a lot of good for the community.